Hello and welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, your go-to place for everything Rocket League with your hosts, K-Cube, AJ Binky, and Red. So lean forward, lock in, and get ready to go Boost Over Ball.
Hello and welcome back to the Boost Over Ball podcast. To listeners new and old, hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kyle, K-Cube, and today I will be joined by Red and Quilly and our special guest, coach of FUT Esports team competing out of SSA Armonik. This is an interview that you guys will not want to miss. He gives perspective and a lot of insight into things that what haven't been discussed and dispels a few rumors about himself and the team. So without further ado, we will jump right into the interview. And all the names worked and all the audio works.
So proud of you.
For now.
For now.
until I move away. But Armonik, thank you so much for agreeing to come and talk to us. We're excited to pick your brain about Rocket League and to hear about your journey as a player and now as a coach. I guess I'll kick us off with how you got started in, I guess, like in Rocket League and in esports, like in general.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for having me in here, first of all. And to be honest, I'd say my first steps, let's say, into esports was when I used to play Call of Duty back when I was younger, like, I don't know, 7 years old, 8 years old maybe. And I just got interested in esports itself. And then I switched into Rocket League in late 2015, I think it was, 2016, at the start of 2016. And so then I started watching, pros, like videos of the game. And, that's how my interest really started in the game, I guess. Okay. Then I started watching RLCS and, all what happened next is just history, like they said.
Did you have a favorite team? Sorry. Do you have a favorite team when you first started watching RLCS? I know some people have their diehard teams from way back early in the seasons.
Well, I'd say I don't really know like in a specific team. I'd say Mockit maybe, but my favorite player definitely was a lot.
Yes.
I used to watch a lot, but he was really my favorite player just because the type of shots he used to do and like, his type of play style was just the one I loved to watch. So, yeah.
I'm so happy to hear you say that. A lot has always been my favorite player as well, and I feel like so many people don't know who he is and the type of shots that he hits, so that's awesome. And he was like, if Gibbs was your all-time goalie, he was like your all-time striker. So, such a fun player to watch. But we hope you all enjoyed that interview, but as always, thank you so much for listening. Please remember to rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, share the show, tell a friend. It all helps us grow our audience and improve the show. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Twitch, and come join our Discord. Make sure to support us by checking out our merch store and our Patreon, as this is how we will be funding the show and doing giveaways in the future. All of these links and more can be found on our website at boostoverball.com. And from us here on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball.
Yeah, so it's actually a funny thing because I used to compete just in Spanish tournaments, the Spanish community. And they were not really like big tournaments at all because they were like small prize pools and like not that many good players, But I don't know, I just enjoyed competing a lot. And then I made a team for LCS. We didn't do well. I used to play by another name back then, not even Armonik. But I just started I retired, let's say retired. In 2020, 2021, I stopped playing the game for like 2 years and just focused more on coaching because I don't know, there's something about coaching that I don't know, I enjoy a lot more than just playing the game, I guess. And I started coaching like Maniacs. That was my old teams on Bubble EU teams. And I stopped my relation with let's say Rocket League Like I stopped playing, stopped coaching, stopped watching RLCS because I focused more on my studies. And then I just came back. I think it was last year, maybe 2 years ago, and I went playing in SSA because some friends of mine were playing in there and told me, "Yeah, you should come playing here. Maybe you can earn some money now that you don't play the game at all and stuff." And yeah, I played there. I made main event with some friends. Then I subbed for Mobile because I've been friends with them for like years. Like not from Rocket League, not online friends, but real life friends. And then after subbing for them, we split it. Like this SSA split, like this SSA season was not really gonna be a real thing because we were planning on doing a world tour. And so yeah, some stuff happened and we ended up in SSA again, and I ended up being their coach instead of their substitute.
Okay. Yeah, I had heard that VK Salen had said that he wanted to try and compete in as many regions as possible. So I kind of thought that he would try like APAC or OCE or something like that. But they ended up back in SSA. Uh,
Mhm.
so what, like, you subbed for them last season. What did that process look like? Like, what was your thought process behind competing in like a different region? Because originally you guys competed from Europe, no? Like just
Uh, well, not really. Thing is, there's a lot of misinformation about, like, a lot of lies that were spread with our names on it. It was just Liora playing from Spain because he was studying at the moment, and so that's why he couldn't like really travel to SSA and then miss all the class and stuff. And so, but yeah, Rubix was playing from Cape Town, South Africa. Same for Vicky Helen, and our ex-coach Jesus was in South Africa with them as well. So yeah, and now all the team is based in South Africa. Like they've come here for the major now, and then after the major next week they're traveling again to South Africa. Like they've been living in there for like I think it was 2 months or 2 months and a half, and yeah, just coming back for the lands and going back.
okay. So it's not. I was gonna ask. Some players will come together and do a boot camp beforehand, but that's generally like for players who live like in different areas. Do they kind of have like a team house? Are they living like together, or
Well, I think not many people know this, but I don't mind saying it. They do live in the same house, like in Cape Town. But the thing is, they've been paying for like the entire trip and like the house, the flights, the food, everything for themselves. So like the profit, let's say monetary profit made from playing in South Africa is really not as big as people think it is because we're just competing, like of course you can argue over like conquering South Africa, like call it whatever, I don't care, but it's not really that big of a deal. If you want to travel to South Africa and really compete on the same thing, it's really not that big of a deal because you got to pay a lot of money just to go there. It's crazy money, so it's really not that big of a deal.
What's the experience like there as compared to back home?
Well, of course, back home we pay zero because I mean, of course, you gotta play on 140 ping, but you're in your house. You can practice whatever you want. You can scream a lot of teams. You can, the only problem is that you have to play on 140 ping, which is really not that like it's not that big of a problem. So you know, um, I don't know. I'd say the expenses, like difference in between the expenses playing from Spain and playing from South Africa are crazy. Like the difference is just insane.
140 ping being no deal is crazy because as soon as mine gets over 40, I'm blaming everything on that. So I
Yeah, mine
cannot
as well.
imagine playing at a pro level on 140 ping.
Yeah.
But there
It's
are levels to this. There are levels to this, and you guys are
Mm.
obviously way exceeding my diamond mindset.
Yeah, same happens for me though. So
Are you staying? Were you down in South Africa with them, or have you been staying in Europe?
Well, most likely for second split, because now we've got an org, and this is my job now. I will probably be flying out to South Africa, but the problem is first split I couldn't because I had my job apart from Rocket League. Because as a player, of course, you're earning your money, but as a coach, most of the times you don't earn as much as a player, so you cannot really like live out of it. I just do it for the, let's say, this is gonna sound weird, but I just do it for the love of the game, you know.
Hey,
Completely understand. Yeah.
that's why I have done it. So that's why we talk about it all the time. Um. So are you? This is more of like a traveling thing, right? But are you excited to potentially get to go down to Cape Town? Are you excited to travel to Birmingham? You know, I'm sure that you have done your fair share of traveling. But have you been to Birmingham before? Have you been to South Africa before?
Well, I've been to South Africa before. I've been in Johannesburg, but I've never been to Cape Town, so I'm really excited to maybe go there. And well, it's like this RLCS thing has opened like a really big window, like let's say travel wise, because I didn't used to travel that much. And now, for example, we were in Turkey, like boot camping a week ago in the FUT house, which is like the house of the club. And then now we came here, we go to Birmingham. Um, I've never been in Birmingham, but I was in London last year for the major as well. So yeah, I'm really excited because I love traveling actually. I don't really do it that much because I really cannot. I don't have that much money to travel as much as I would want to. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to travel and more because I'm of course doing it with my friends. So that really adds up to the excitement, I guess.
You have a go-to travel snack?
I'd say gummy bears, Haribo's.
Oh, reliable.
Mm.
That's funny. Are you? Do you know if your team is going to boot camp in England beforehand, or was you had your boot camp already in Turkey?
Well, we had boot camp already in Turkey because we had to go there for some org stuff as well, and so we just mixed it. But no, I think our flight. Well, I don't know if I'm able to say this. I mean, I don't know if I can say this, but well, we are traveling to Birmingham like some days before ours here, so we are really not boot camping at all.
Okay. Because I know in the past, at least from what I've known, that there's quite a few teams that will go early, especially from other regions. Like OCE likes to go early. Sam and NA probably will go a little bit early too, just so they can play either ranked on the servers for some of the other regions. Like I know it's been really beneficial for APAC players to go to EU and play on EU servers and things like that. So I was curious to see if you guys were going to try and get some more scrims in with other teams, or if I don't know exactly how finding scrims at majors work, but you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, as long as I'm afraid, I believe Furia is already in Europe, and I believe so, I don't know if it was Wildcard of Chiefs, one of those two. I think it's already like boot camping as well in EU. But yeah, we really got no point that much if you think about it on boot camping because we are already from EU, so we just can play from home and then just travel there. So yeah, I don't know. It's I know of course it would be an advantage to be all together because that always, as I like to say, that makes up the chemistry of the team and that creates it and makes like some kind of bond. If that makes any sense. Um, but yeah, we just play from home and then travel all together there, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So it's a different answer for every coach that we haven't interviewed, but that we've talked to. Um, but a lot of people think about it while they're watching on the broadcast or watching in person. Seating order, like who sits where on stage. Do you have uh, a way that you normally sit, or do you change it up based on how people are feeling?
Well, can you elaborate it, please?
So Farah has said on Twitter and stuff like that he likes to put it was the old iteration of KC. He put Vatira in the middle because Vatira was the most vocal. He could like congratulate both of his teammates on either side of him instead of having to like look over and like yell down the line at people. Other people have said, they put the quietest person in the middle so that like both of his teammates can hype him up at the same time, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have do they like to sit in a certain spot, or is that something that you haven't even thought about?
Well, I did think about it. Sorry, I didn't understand the first time. I did think about it prior. And the thing is, last season, for example, for the major, I was not coaching, obviously, but I told them that usually Europe, who is the quietest one, should be in the middle, so they both can, congratulate each other and hype them. But I also thought that maybe VK, who is the captain of the team, could be in the middle because that's more of an, let's say, an iconic spot. But yeah, otherwise, I don't know. I didn't thought about more, specific places that they could sit in. Like it's just either VK because he's the captain and he can be in the middle of both two, or Liora in the middle because I need him to be more focused and to be able to be hyped whenever they just scream or whatever. Because VK is already very vocal, let's say like that.
Understandable. I feel like he has the most RLCS experience of the group, so I'm sure that comes in handy.
Following up with that, like coaching style. So obviously, in between Rocket League games, you got 1 minute. It's not a lot of time. So as a coach, what do you focus on? What is your main like focal points to get across to your team? After a win, after a loss, either one. What do you really kind of focus on to try to get across to your guys as you try to keep them in the series?
Well, my main point always is either just hyping, of course, if we win, or just telling them to calm down if we lose, because most people don't realize it, but maybe one or two words can make a big impact in someone. Not even like I'm not even speaking sports wise, but as a person, you sometimes just need someone to tell you, "Are you okay?" or something like that, and that's the first thing that I do whenever I see them. Like they are maybe, this is like a scale. You cannot be too high or too low. I need you to be in the middle. Like you can win 5-0, but I need you to keep focus for the next game to win 5-0 again. There's no point on winning 5-0 if you're going to lose 3-0 next game because of you being too high. So first thing that I do is just keeping their mental like straight. And then I tell them, okay, so I just saw this that I didn't like. Please focus that more because I don't want that to happen again. And then maybe tell them, yeah, you could try this or try that for next game because I've seen that maybe these guys are not doing this or they are maybe leaving too much space in middle. And yeah, so I basically just care about the mental first and then just go with a play style thingy later.
Okay. Sorry, another question I've always wanted to know. When do you feel is the best time to use your timeout?
Honestly, we've only asked for one timeout in the whole split. And it was because I saw the team was starting to, let's say, so, okay, I'm going to explain it way easier to understand. So we've really not dropped that many games against Limitless. And we lost one series prior, that regional, but that was for seeding. So we really didn't take that as a serious game. But I really didn't want them to, I think the series score was 3-1, and then we lost another game, so it was 3-2. Or no, it was 3-0 and then 3-1. Okay, yeah. So we just lost one game. And then I saw them start to complain to each other, and I asked for the timeout. It's not like I really needed to, because they would probably just win the next game as well, because it was just a 1-goal game, so it was really not that much of a rush. But sometimes I just feel like a timeout is needed just to straight your mind. It's just like I said in the prior to this. And sometimes you just need, as a coach, to talk with your players and say, "Yo, boys, let's just focus up. Let's end up this, and then we can argue, we can do whatever once the series ends. Like until the series finishes, just focus on your game, do what you have to do, and then we can argue later." And that's why I did. Like it's the only time that we've done so far. So hopefully I don't need to do them anymore. But we will probably need them in the major. So yeah, it's really when I just call the timeout whenever I feel like I need to do it. It's not like they tell me, "Yo, I need a timeout." So
Yeah, because I mean, we saw originally it was before generally like in an elimination game, like we take your time out when you're down 3-2, 3-1, or 3-0, and now we're kind of seeing more and more coaches start calling it down 2 games. Really, like because I feel like if you're 1 game away from losing, it's kind of too late already. So I was just curious what you thought about it, but looking back on your run, you haven't really needed to do that just because of how dominant you guys have been.
Mhm. Yeah, and I just try to be real, because of course,
Yeah.
we've really didn't have that much of a challenge until now. Maybe we do in the second split, but as long as I'm afraid, the boys have been just let's not say cruising because that feels really bad to say, but they've been, let's say, chilling. Their mental has been nice till now, so I didn't feel like I needed to at the moment. So
That's fair. I mean, hey, you can only play the teams that you draw up against, and you guys were able to do that extremely well. But so if you, I believe that for the major, timeouts are still only best of 7, correct?
mm,
Or do
I'm
you
not
are
sure.
there Swiss timeouts?
I'm pretty sure it's only
Honest,
best of sevens.
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, I think there's no timeouts in Swiss. I think. I'm not really sure though, because
I
I
don't
gotta be
remember.
honest. I didn't read the rules of the major yet. I usually do it 3 days before the major, so I
Oh yeah,
remember them.
Fair.
So I
Don't
didn't
worry.
read them yet.
You'll just clean sweep the whole Swiss, and you won't have to worry about
Hopefully, I mean that's the ideal situation, right? So
it.
let's hope for that. But yeah,
yeah. It's only in best of 7s.
yeah. So there's no timeouts on Swiss
Yeah,
unless you have a technical problem, which
yeah,
is hopefully not gonna happen either. So.
yeah. No kidding. Especially
There's
like
always one. There's always one team that has it.
We had it last major. so so hopefully we don't this one.
was it a controller problem? What happened?
I mean, I don't really know because as long as I was not coaching, I was subbing, I could not stay in the stage because there's private stages
Oh,
for Swiss. It's not in the main stage.
yeah.
And so let's say staff of the teams and substitutes and whoever that is not players or coach have to go. Like they have to wait in another room with, let's say, a TV so they can watch the series, but they cannot stay into the, let's say, behind the cameras. Let's say.
Speaking of that, what's it like being in another room rooting for your team without your team?
Well, like you get nervous, and it's not only getting nervous, but the thing is, of course, we are not the most liked team. You know, being for real. Also because people don't usually try to even talk to us or like meet us to know if we are cool or not. But that's another thing. Um, but yeah, I'd say it's weird because it's a weird feeling, rooting for someone that doesn't even hear you or like they of course know that I'm rooting for them, but it's a weird feeling being alone, like not alone, but with other team stuff in the same room, rooting for your team while they root for theirs. But yeah, it's definitely a fun experience though. It's definitely fun.
Yeah, I mean, we got to do some media at the World Championships, and we got to see like the stages that they were doing for Swiss, and it's a lot. Like it's a lot
Yeah.
bigger of a production than I thought, and I would not have even thought about like where the subs would sit, or like maybe in like their like the little team tents or whatever, or like the team room. But that's got to be so difficult, especially being a sub, like knowing like you tried to do everything you could to help your team, but like there's nothing you can do. They just have to watch them either win or lose.
Yeah, and it was frustrating as well because, as a sub, you usually don't do that much. We don't even have a sub right now in our team. It's me. So if we like a funny story in second regional, one of our players just ran out of like his PC died in between series, and I had to hop in, which was actually weird and funny at the same time. We ended up winning the series with me as well, but yeah, I mean, subs usually don't do that much. I had to play last regional last season before London when we needed to clutch the main event to make London. I had to play the entire open, so it was kind of a, let's say, big responsibility. So being at London just, I don't know, felt awkward. Let's say awkward because I had to sit in another room while my team was playing in there, and I was used to be like right next to them. So I don't know, it felt weird. Honestly, it was really cool. I'm not gonna lie, it was really really cool, but it felt weird.
Okay. So we talked a little bit before, but heading into this major, what is your goals? What is your mindset for you and your team? What are you hoping to accomplish, and what are you most excited for?
Well, of course, we want to improve the result that we made last year, like last major. I don't think we deserved to go 1-9 last season because we had two overtimes against Space Station and we had two one goal games against PDS as well. And so for Twisted Minds. So pretty much every single game in our major was like one goal, two goal difference. So I'd say main focus, of course, is winning because otherwise we wouldn't go in there. And second, let's say challenge, personal challenge, at least for me, because we changed coach. So now it's my job to do better. I'd say just improve all last result. Starting for winning GK first, of course. They're the last EU regional champions. So that will be a really big, let's say, confidence boost, not only for the, like, let's say, the roster itself, but also for me, because that would mean that we are doing a great job. So yeah, I'd say the main focus, of course, is winning the major, unless, of course, we wouldn't go there, if we didn't want to win it. But being realistic, I think the main goal is just to improve so we can do better at hopefully the second major as well, and then the worlds.
Okay. Um, are there if you like you play GK first, and that has been public, but are there any teams, coaches, players that you would look forward to playing against or coaching against?
Well, I'd love my team to play against the better teams in the major because I always love to play against the best teams in the world. And that makes my job harder, but more comfortable, let's say. I, I, I like to do my job. And of course, if you have to play against Carmine, who is arguably the best team in the world right now, um, your job is going to be harder, but of course, let's say better. So I'd say I would like to face, well, of course, one of the teams that I would never like to play against would be any other team that has a Spanish player on it, because that would mean that one of the Spanish would go one game down, like one series down. But yeah, if I had to face one, I'd say maybe Luminosity, because a lot of people that have said that, yeah, Luminosity compared to FUT is S tier and blah, blah, blah. And I can tell you it's really not that big of a difference. Like in a best of seven, I'd say it's a 50-50, 100%.
Okay.
So, with the major and all the teams, obviously you mentioned all the fans pretty much going into the season had Vitality as the number one team, but all the players had K Corp, and obviously it seems like you do as well, have K Corp as the number one team in the world. Obviously, excluding you guys, 'cause I assume you'd have yourself as number one in the world. What is your top 3 teams in this major?
Excluding myself, right? That's what
Yes,
you
yes,
mean.
yes. Of course, because you guys are number one.
Yeah,
After that,
understandable. Number one.
Okay, so I gotta say, of course, I gotta say Carmine Corp because they've been unstoppable until the last regional, and it hurts to say, but I'm not gonna put Vitality into top three because I believe they are too inconsistent right now. So I'd say maybe Honor for second, and then if I had to guess, that's maybe this is gonna be a bit of a personal preference, and I believe they are the dark horses. Because people don't really give them that much of a credit because it's a minor region. But I'd say Twisted Minds.
Ooh.
that is. I was thinking you were gonna go with Fury or something. Twisted Minds is that people don't even have them as the best in their region.
Yeah,
You
I
got 'em
believe
top 3.
it depends on how consistent they are.
It depends on
Who
if
do
they're
you-
if they're in a grand finals or not.
Yes, yeah, but I'd say it's either Falcons or like the difference in between Falcons and Twisted. I'd say, of course, Falcons have been together for 2 seasons now or 3, and Twisted has been the first split that they are together, and they managed to win a regional and keep it close for the other 2. So I believe if they are consistent enough, they can beat maybe not Carmine Corp yet because I need to watch them a little bit more. Maybe I'm a little bit too biased because one of my friends is in there, but yeah, I believe that's a really, really good team, like really powerful. They just need to find the consistency.
Yeah. I mean, that was actually that good thing you say that. That was going to be one of the next questions I ask. So, I mean, obviously people know about French Rocket League, but one of the things that I think that is underrated would be Spanish Rocket League. We see players like Stizzy for Dignitas, CRR for Complexity, and even their coach Braun is Spanish. Atomic is Spanish. You know, obviously your entire team is Spanish. Um, is it so when you are not playing against them, do you root for your fellow countrymen when they play? Unless rooting for them doesn't help you, like I
Well,
or maybe you don't root for
well,
them.
you can. I'm gonna give you a clip in here, but I root for everyone besides Tizzy.
Okay.
Let's say it like that.
You know, like his attitude.
I root for
I bet.
everyone besides Tizzy.
Fair.
He is one of the more vocal players, especially after wins. So
Let's say he's not the best person out there. So
oh.
Hey, I mean, I root for everybody besides First Killer, so
that's fair enough. He's a good chap, though. I
Oh,
met him
yeah.
at London. He's a
No-
really cool guy.
no shade whatsoever to First Killer, the human being.
Strictly on the field beef.
Yeah, no, not clutch
Yeah.
at all.
But yeah, I really got no issues with anyone besides him. I mean, I just don't like him as a person. That's it.
Okay. So another thing that we've started to see because we get to they let us come back and take pictures and do some interviews at the events, but and at the World Championships they had like table tennis, they had like basketball that you could play. Is that something that they normally have at the majors? Do they have something that for the players to do to help pass the time other than playing the game?
Well, honestly, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know. Like last season at London, there's something I told Blast as well because they asked for our opinion last season when the major ended. I told them I liked one thing, but also I didn't like another one. First thing I liked is that player boot camps while being in the major were inside of the hotel, which was a really nice thing because we could scream at all times if we wanted to. That's a thing that they've changed for this season, which is bad, but it's their way of doing stuff, I guess. But yeah, I believe there's no table tennis or whatever. At least there was none at London. So yeah, I think that's something that should be more encouraged. And I try to encourage that to my players as well. Not only because they are my players, because it's as well because they are my friends. You know, I like them to be fit. I like them to, and also because if you have a healthy, let's say, mindset, you will have a healthy, way of playing and way of living as well. So yeah, I don't know. I'd say that's a good habit.
Yeah.
To go with the amenities that they give you, and say like a player lounge that you guys are going to be at, and obviously all the other teams and players are going to be at. Are you going to be promoting mingling and getting around and talking to the other teams? Or are you going to try and have them head down, not liking anyone, just focused on beating everyone?
Well, no, of course no. Whatever happens in free time, it's their free time. I'm really like a person that likes my team to have their freedom. Like besides, of course, time when we have to play or scrim or you know. I also the only restriction, let's say that I give to my players is you have to go sleep at this time whenever we have to compete next day, and you have to wake up at this time tomorrow. That's really like the only more strict thing that I do. And of course, don't fight anyone, don't spit on anyone, don't be a
Mm.
dick, at least publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Don't jump up on
Because
stage and
of
give someone the middle finger.
of course.
The
you know,
classic
uh,
Furia.
and
Exactly.
yeah, and I mean that's a common sense thing, but even more now because we are under contract. So
Yeah.
Got a brand to represent.
yeah, of course.
Unless it comes to Stizzy, then there might be some.
Well, yeah, well, yeah. It really depends. It really depends who we face in round two.
Listen,
yeah.
I would love to see you recreate that picture if you beat Stizzy. There's a-
Well, I can tell you, I will probably do if we win. If we have to face them in the second round, I can promise I will behave. If
I'll
I
be
have
root-
to pay, if I have to pay for a fine, I will do it with an ease. And
I'll be looking
I'm a
forward.
person. I'm a person who has a lot of self control.
Mm.
I feel
But
like you have to be.
of course, it's my job. So, but we will see. We will see.
A
But
level head of the team.
you mentioned the org. I am curious to learn a little bit more. Before they're, I don't really watch a ton of other esports. Before they, picked up you guys, I was unaware of FUT esports. So how did that kind of come around for them picking up a Rocket League team, and how has your experience been with them? You said you were in Turkey recently, boot camping with them.
Well, it's been a roller coaster, honestly, because we've been even last season we've been negotiating with a lot of orgs, big ones, small ones, let's say mid-sized ones. Um, but yeah, one day, I don't know if I can. Okay, yeah, I don't think I can say this publicly, but I can say this to you guys later on out of stream. Um, so yeah, we started negotiating with because they are a really big org in Turkey. They are like the Carmine Corp of Turkey, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, they have a really really big team in Valorant. They have top. I think they ended up top 5 or something like that in last season's World Championship. So yeah, it's really a big org there in Turkey. And they are really, really. I'm not saying this because they pay me now, but they are really, really good people. Like everything that we needed, they tried to solve it. Whenever, like we said, yeah, we're coming back from South Africa this day, and then next week we just flew there to Turkey, and yeah, everything that was needed was provided, and everything that was asked for, or like it was a fair negotiation, like from both sides. So yeah, and I feel like it's more of a family more than a team itself. So yeah, that really made us not only sign but want to stay.
That's awesome. I'd be curious to know if Turkey's participation in the Rocket League World Cup, the FIFA EU World Cup, if that maybe helped push them towards picking up a roster. I'm not sure if you know that or not.
Yeah, it's actually funny that you asked that because one of the players from Turkey at FIFA E is one of the content creators of FUT,
That's
and
who he
he
was a
was
creator for. Okay, yeah.
yeah,
He
yeah,
performed
and
so well.
yeah, he did well, yeah. And actually, we when we were in Turkey, we recorded. Um, it's not out yet, of course. I think they are waiting till 1 week, 2 weeks from the major. Um, but we recorded some marketing stuff for the team, some let's say welcome videos, a proper introduction of the roster, and he was in there. He's gonna appear in the video as well.
Oh,
So yeah,
that's so
he's
cool.
one of the content. Yeah, he's one of the big content creators of FUT.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that. That content creator that was beating people that they shouldn't have. It was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
He's
huge.
actually good at the game. He's actually good.
Yeah,
He's like 2.2k, something like that. So yeah, he's good.
I mean, they had a better performance than I think a lot of people were expecting. Um, they were able to take a couple of wins off of some teams that a lot of people didn't
No,
expect them
no
to
one
do.
expect.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. They did really well. Yeah.
that's awesome for them.
Hmm.
They did in points in terms of number of game wins. They did one better than South Africa, which is I believe was just the limitless roster. It is just the limitless roster.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah.
Different
Well,
groups,
no.
different groups, and all that stuff. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, they did well actually. Yeah, and South Africa as well. You gotta give it to them because they took a game off England,
they did.
so they did well as well. And I gotta say, from here, I don't think any South African player maybe is gonna watch this, but I gotta say that they've they've really improved. Like these 2 seasons that imports have been in South Africa, they've done well and they've actually definitely improved. I believe Limitless has improved a lot from last season. You see a replay from first play last season, you see one from now, and they've changed a lot. And I believe CP0 has had some influence on that roster already. You got to give them to them definitely, and I believe they're gonna keep improving when imports are in there. Maybe it's painful for them, of course, to not go to a major, being realistic, and I get that point of view. But if you want to improve, this is the better way you go right now. 100%.
So speaking of that, one of the big gripes for a lot of people for like teams coming into a new region is, and I know Falcons is a little bit different, but Falcons doesn't scrim anybody in Mina. So
Yeah.
when your team and your players are competing, especially when they're living there, are they scrimming with other SSA teams or trying to at least as much as you can?
Yes. First thing, yes. And the second is kinda. Okay, so I'm gonna explain this. First thing is yes, because the only teams we've played besides one time, since the team is in there living for the regionals and stuff, it's only SSA teams, only, but not just limitless, but top 8, top 12, not like top 16 teams,
Yeah.
which is something that limitless doesn't do. First things first. And second is we do it as much as we can because my players have to play at a boot camp that is actually closed now. So okay, I need to explain this. It's going to be a little bit long, so I'm sorry for that.
Okay.
Oh, good.
But I'm going to explain it properly. So I hope my English is not the best, but I hope I explained properly. So they have to pay. So my players had to pay as well for the boot camp they were playing at. So it was really like if we had to pay every day to scrim, it was too much of us expend. They were spending too much money. And so we could really only scrim either on weekends or just for warm up before our OCS, and that's when we've scrimmed SSA teams. But just one time, that some EU team that was playing in there asked for they asked for a scrim, and I said yes because I had another issue we have currently with SSA teams is that they don't request scrims. Like every time we've scrimmed an SSA team is because I was the one requesting them. So and that this is not a lie. I can show you Discord DMs. I got everything because I always keep every evidence that I can, because as much as people like to lie about my team, I have evidence that is not true, you know? So I always have that to cover my back. And yeah, I'd say that. And then a lot of lies have been spread, especially coming from Limitless and from another people, that we don't scrim SSA teams, which is a lie. You can, I don't know if you guys know what ball chasing is, like the website.
Yeah.
But if you type VK Salen in there and go press private, like the filters, you will see that you have a lot of replays from SSA teams screaming us or playing us or whatever. But I think sometimes the only thing they have left is to cry on Twitter, to have some likes or some recognition, because that's the only thing they can do right now. Because I have, and I can publicly say this because I'm tired of it. I have blacklisted Limitless, so we are not going to scream them anymore. And this is a public thing. I said it a couple of times already. Because of I really don't have any personal issues with them, but I just don't like them to lie with my team name on it, especially now that we are on FUT. And so yeah, we really screamed them, but yeah, I don't know. I hope I explained it properly. Oh wait, no, never mind. Sorry, I forgot about something. The bootcamp thingy. So we usually pay to play, but last regional, before clinching the major spot, we got told that the bootcamp was closing its doors forever, so they were not gonna open anymore, and we really didn't have any place to play or do whatever. We are not in our country, not even our continent, so it was really hard. And somehow we tried to speak with a lot of people, and we managed to find a place to play. And yeah, we played at some guy's house, and that's why we couldn't even scrim. We played our decider game for the major without warming up. So it's not really like we don't want to, let's say, warm up or whatever, but more like we just can't sometimes.
Okay. So to follow up on that, you mentioned it. People have been um, rather upset with you guys taking the major spot from a like a basic from Limitless is really what it comes down to. How have especially VK Salen has been maybe like the like the main person that people are seeming to get mad at. How has he been dealing with all of that backlash, and how have you as a team been trying to handle that? Because it's been a lot.
Well, I'm the one that is, let's say, most aware of social media because I have to, you know. Um, but realistically, Vicky doesn't even have Twitter installed on his phone, so he really doesn't even look at it. And myself, like I told him what happened last season with, okay, let's be for real, Carmine Corp tweets were just rage bait, and people were keeping, like, they just kept falling for it one time and another and another. But the tweet that VK said about SSA was not cool, and I spoke with him and I told him, yeah, this is not cool. This should have not been posted. Even if you think that way, just don't say it. It's not a good way of thinking, but even like, at least don't do it publicly, because that's just not cool, man. And I spoke with all of them, and we arrived at the conclusion that this cannot, happen again. We have to keep a low profile and be kind with people, because that costs nothing. We are taking their major spot or regional prize or whatever, call it whatever, I don't care. You cannot be a dick about it, because that's not the play, that's not the move. And even if you were playing in EU, that's not the play either. I don't want my team to be represented as the dicks of RLCS.
Yeah.
And I spoke with them about it, and yeah, as you can see, I don't know if you've checked VK socials or whatever, like any of my team players' socials, but they've posted nothing since I'm behind them. So yeah, hopefully we keep it that way. And again, I said it. I think I said it publicly, and I spoke with Greybeard as well about it, and I said sorry about everything that happened last season because that was not okay. I believe some attitudes were not okay from Limitless either, but you gotta give it to them because of course you're getting your major spot taken away. So I kind of understand it, as well as I do understand some VK attitude because of all the hate that was coming into him last season. But yeah, I think I understand the hate. I always understand it because you can argue over if what we do is moral or it's okay, it's good or it's bad. But something I don't understand is, for example, some stuff that has happened. Um, is getting death threats, which has happened to me actually like 2 or 3 times this last week. So yeah, I believe that's not acceptable. Not only because this is just an esport, it's not like your life isn't gonna change because I win a regional in SSA, so that shouldn't be that big of a deal for an spectator, both, you know. But only because I believe we are all people, we are all person, and even if you think that we are dicks or we are, whatever you want to call us, I believe everybody deserves to be treated as a person and not as a dog, you know. And yeah, I believe I've explained myself correctly, so I hope I have done so.
Yeah, no, for sure. And we got a question from someone in the chat. Um, you like you are more of an SSA region member than most, living and playing in the region, scrimming the teams in the region. How do you feel about teams like, I cannot believe they're unbanned, but recently unbanned, like Young Money Clan teams playing from NA or playing from other regions, trying to snag a quote free major spot, even though they wouldn't do it?
Well, it really depends on how you see the game at this point, right? I do believe, as I said prior, I believe that even if you're playing from NA or EU or SSA or like whatever you're playing from and playing on SSA or APAC or like whatever you're playing, I do believe that you need to behave yourself as a normal person, and you should even give respect to people that you don't know, especially if you're playing, for example, from EU to SSA. For example, I'm saying that because, of course, we are traveling there to play, But I do believe that if you're going to another region to play, you should be behaving as you would do in your own house, you know? Like, of course, if you're gonna, you should treat people that you don't know the same way you treat your father, for example. That's my way to go, And that's the way I've been trying to tell my players to behave as well. But I don't know. I believe this Young Money Clan thingy just I don't know how to explain it in English, but I'd say it was taken a little bit out of context as well, because I do believe they demonized them, like if they were the worst people on earth. And of course, what they did was not nice. We all know that. Like, I spoke with Riho as well, and I told him, like, why? Of course. And, our manager is the ex-manager of Young Money Clan, who is Lav. And I spoke a lot of times with him saying, why? Like, why would you do that? Because of course it was obvious as well. So why would you do that to yourself? And why would you do that to people that have been nice to you? Like SSA community were nice to Young Money Clan before this. So I don't get why would you do that, you know? But I don't know, at the end of the day, it's just something that people I guess don't realize that is really as bad as it really is. And yeah, they did a stupid thing. They paid for it. and then I believe they got banned like some weeks ago, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, they
Oh,
just came up
recently, yeah.
on
mm,
a year. They got a
okay.
full year ban from
Mm-hmm,
uh from RLCS. So
mm-hmm,
it was certainly quite obvious what they were doing. Although, like, I think, and it's never going to be fully blameless, right? But like, I think the format in which,
mm,
like, you have to put a little bit of blame into the format where that was the best way, the only way for them to be able to make a major was to try
yeah.
and snipe Limitless early. So, I mean, should they have done it? Most certainly not. But also, maybe the format is a little bit to blame as well. So,
Yeah, and I do believe this year's format is kind of weird as well.
yeah, I don't.
Because last regional, for example, we got in the group of death. If you check it on Wikipedia or whatever, you can see that when we were out of Swiss, sorry, of double Swiss, after double Swiss, you get like the top 16, which is two groups of 8, and we got the 8 best team in the region in the same bracket.
Yeah.
So that really shouldn't be a thing because book health is just not good. In last regional, we were on Swiss. We had, I think we went 9-0. So we won 3 series, all 3-0. And then we ended up being seed 2 behind La Boche, who was 9-2. So that really makes no sense because we don't really decide. Like, even if we win everything, we cannot be seed 1, even after sweeping 2 regionals. So I don't know. This format is kind of weird. I don't think it's as bad as last season because last season was horrible. But this format is kind of weird, honestly. And I believe the world's format is going to be even more confusing for people outside of the scene, let's say.
No, because they have to add
Uh,
in the last chance qualifier teams.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
we saw like an EU group of death. Certainly looking at it more closely, Limitless, 77 blocks, Hay with Riz, Gene 6, Ball Eater, Team, like these are all like the normal teams that you're seeing top 8,
Mhm.
pretty frequently. So to not see like Insanity or 77 blocks, uh, because of Buchels, that that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me either. It's like all
I
about,
don't know.
yeah, I don't. I'm not going to
I
pretend
mean,
to understand.
I was confident my team was gonna win everyone, and especially because we were trying to clinch the major spot. But I believe that's a really big. I mean, it's a really big injustice for the teams that are lower seeded that are trying to get into top 8.
Yeah,
And of course, we got the limitless FUT in this case. We were maestros at that point, but you
but
know,
even like
I
even for you guys, like in Swiss, you guys went a perfect 9-0, and
yeah.
Le Bosch went 9-1, and they
Mhm.
still topped the Swiss because of the Buchel score, which
Yeah.
doesn't really make sense to me.
And even at the major now, if we lose 3-2 against GK, for example, we are going to be the lowest seed. Like, even if somebody loses 3-0, still we're going to be the lower seed because of book off.
Yeah,
So I don't know. It's a bit weird. I don't like the book off personally, and I believe a lot of pros don't like it either. They just don't make it vocal because it's not worth it sometimes. But
yeah. I mean, I know like people like Johnny Boy, CJ, and a couple other people have not been fans of the Buchel score, and they've been a little bit louder. So hopefully that changes for next season, because it seems weird to like have a better game differential and still be lower in seed.
mm,
But like, cause you can only play the teams that you're drawn up against. Like, you can't choose who you play.
yeah,
It's not
yeah.
your fault.
Yeah. For example, there's I believe even like the only chance we have of facing, for example, I was gonna say Elevate, Luminosity or Chiefs, which are the 15 and 14 seed. The only chance we got of that happening is if we go, for example, to the 2-2 round or 1-1 round, which is, being fair, it's hard, but um it's really bad that we, for example, cannot face APAC or OCE 2.
Yeah.
The only chance we got of facing OCE, which is a more reasonable matchup, is if Wildcard wins the first game and we lose the first game. Oh wait, no, never mind. Sorry. If we win the first game and they win the first game. So I don't know. This format is not, as I said, it's not as bad as last year's because last year's was so terrible. But this year is I don't know. I don't speak in behalf of my team. I speak in my behalf. I don't like it personally.
Fair. It certainly seems more complicated than it needs to
Hmm.
be, but
Yeah.
hey.
Hmm.
But did you guys have any other questions, or Armonic, did you have anything that you wanted to bring up? Anything that you wanted to like talk about, or any misnomers about your team that you'd like to clarify while we have you here?
Well, no, I first thing I'd like to say thank you guys for letting me join you guys, and especially because I would like to, I like to have the possibility to clean my team's name. Of course, some stuff that has happened in the past, just like VK's tweets, are something that we cannot change already because uh, that's already done. But I would especially like them. I mean, I thank you guys for letting me give an explanation on some stuff, especially on the scrims thing, which is just, as I told, completely fake. Um, because some people make assumptions, some people just don't even want to hear what I have to say sometimes, just because I am the bad person, I am the essay conqueror, I am the whatever the hell you want to call me. So sometimes people just don't want to, listen or speak as a normal person. So thank you.
Thank you. Also, I'd like to
Final.
I'd like to compliment the fact that your English is better than my English. So that's incredible. And I'm going to just assume that you speak Spanish, being from
See,
Spain. You speak English. Do you speak any other languages?
Turkish getting there.
no, well, yeah, yeah.
No
I
way.
know I know some words. I know some words. I know marhaba, which is hi, and then hadi gidelim, that means let's go.
Yeah, I had some friends that lived in Istanbul, and they said Turkish was by far the hardest language they've ever tried to learn.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
really
not based on anything. It's just its own thing. Like it's just its
yeah,
own. Like that's crazy.
yeah.
But do you
When
speak
we
like
were
a?
at the FUT house, wow, it
Oh
was
my!
crazy.
I can't even imagine. But do you speak like a
W-
French or like a German or?
Well, I do kind of. I don't speak, but I do kind of understand Portuguese, for obvious reasons,
Right.
Yeah.
because it's pretty much next to Spain. And I do understand a little bit of French. Understand, not speak it, but I do understand a little bit of French because I got, my manager is half French, half English. So whenever he wants to curse at me, he just says it on French. so I don't understand it. But yeah, whenever I need to cancel a scream or like move the date of it or whatever, he just curses on French. So yeah.
Do we have a final prediction for the grand finals for Major One?
Yes. I'd say FUT against Dignitas. And we sweep.
Ooh.
Against
Very sweet.
The
Dignitas too.
story.
Interesting, you picked that.
And then
The script writers would go crazy. That would be
That
that
would
would be
be
peak.
Well,
insane.
it's actually funny because yesterday, oh wait, no, it was today in the morning. Atomic sent me a tweet about some girl, I think it was a girl from Twitter, that said she did a prediction from the major with a coin flip on every
I-
game. And it said that we are
Whoa.
going to win the major.
I
There
didn't.
you
I didn't know
go.
if that'd be. I didn't know if it'd be messed up to bring up you guys winning via coin flips, but I did see that on Twitter today.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna complain, if that's the case, I mean, I wouldn't
Hey.
complain at all.
If
Honestly.
it
It's a
turns right,
win.
if that turns out to be a true prediction, the coin will be sold for millions.
For real,
Be the
I would buy it. I would spend all my month's salary just on buy that fucking coin. To be honest.
Hey, I mean the coin did better than Bates last time.
Yeah, it's like who's gonna win?
Well, you never know.
England,
You
Spain?
know, the year that Spain won the football World Cup in South Africa,
Yeah,
ironically,
I forgot
um,
about that. So funny.
it was predicted by an octopus as well. So
We need to
why
find the
not?
octopus.
We
As
need
Real,
we need the octopus.
We have to
as
find
Real,
the octopus and train him onto the FUT logo.
yeah, you know, as Rails would say, why not us?
Yeah.
True. Why not us?
You know, it's hard, but never impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, uh, if do you guys have any other questions that you wanted to ask?
No, I mean, it's been a pleasure getting to talk with you and have you on the show. I'm sure everyone else feels the same, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys at potentially at Raleigh. I know most of us here will be going to the Raleigh major, so hoping to see you guys there, and if not Worlds.
Hopefully,
Right. Well, hopefully see you at that major because I'll be looking forward to getting a picture with you when you are holding up that trophy as well.
yeah.
When you're
Yeah,
taking
absolutely.
your back-to-back majors.
Hopefully we do.
Oh.
Yeah. Hopefully we do. Hopefully.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome back to the Boost Over Ball podcast. To listeners new and old, hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kyle K-Cube, and today I will be joined by Red and Quilly and our special guest, coach of FUT Esports team competing out of SSA Armonik. This is an interview that you guys will not want to miss. He gives perspective and a lot of insight into things that what haven't been discussed and dispels a few rumors about himself and the team. So without further ado, we will jump right into the interview.
Thanks for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website at boostoverball.com.